Hello, what's up? I am Kelvin representing Untitled Chapter, and today I will tell you about the operating system. When we talk about the operating system, you can also hear the word OS. This operating system is a program or a software that is loaded into our system after the occurrence of booting. When we talk about this booting has a sequence of process. If you don't understand this process or you don't know the process of booting, I made a video on this and I will drop the link in the description below of this one. What this booting does is just it runs the polls, it initializes our peripherals and our device. When I mean peripherals and our device, like the RAM, the motherboard, the keyboard, it checks all of them. If they're actually working fine, you have a single beep. But if they're not working fine, you have a multiple beep based on the code. Now, when we're talking about operating system is a program. Let's say it's a suite of program and data that acts as an interface between the machine and we users. When I mean between the machine and we users, it kind of creates a bridge between our hardware and we users. Now, when we're talking about this operating system, we have some kind of operating system like we all know we have the Windows. Actually, from Microsoft, we have what we call the Mac OS. From Apple, we have what we call the Linux. These are the three important ones, like the three ones that are blowing up the market. Now we also have what we call it's Open VMS. We also have what we call the Free Mint. These are all operating systems, and they have all their own functions. They have, there's a difference between the Mac OS and the Windows, but all still have to function as special things. There are some specific functions that our operating system must do, which we are going to talk about now. When we talk about certain features, we're talking about concept, the things an operating system must do. Number one thing an operating system must do is to do what we call the file management. When we talk about the file management, an operating system helps us to organize our files in order. When we talk about help us in organizing our files in order, we're talking about it creates an extension. Well, there's something we call extension. When we're talking about extension, we mean, let's say for example, you finish writing something in MS Word, and when you click the save, if you check the extension in MS Word, you'll see something called .doc, which actually means document. If you finish stuff, let's say if you finish some stuff if you're writing a text document, a kind of text in your book, you see something like .bat, or you see something like .script. All these things are the extension created, because if this extension aren't created and let's say you want to run something on .doc, actually your MS Word, and it just prompt out .bat, believe me, if you want to reopen your MS Word, it won't open for you because you're not using the actual extension for it. So the MS Word automatically creates an extension for us to manage our files in order. Now, another thing it does is what we call the memory management. What the memory management does, it checks our memory, it knows how many space we have, it knows what a particular program or process would actually need, and it helps in managing it so that we won't run a lot of program when our memory is not actually fit to support the program. It's just like when you want to download, let's say you have a 2 gig RAM and you want to take in something of a 4 gig file. Let's say you want to take in a 4 gig file into your 2 gig. Believe me, it won't go. So what the operating system does, it prompts out an error message for us, telling us that our memory is not sufficient to handle the process you are trying to work on into your system. Another thing it does for us is that it helps in interpreting code and software. If you kind of send a command to your system, let's say you're trying to do something or you're trying to run a code and the operating system don't understand what you're doing, you will always receive an error message. Another thing we'll talk about is what we'll call the process management. Process management. What this thing does is, for example, let's talk about the multitasking, where you have to run multiple programs in your system. What this the operating system does when you under this process management is that when you're trying to run multiple programs using let's say it will divide the CPU time, and it will allocate each time to different programs you are trying to run. Let's say, for example, another perfect example is if you're trying to, let's say you're editing a video, you're running what they call, let's say you're also typing, and you're browsing. You're doing three things at a time, and these are three different programs, three different softwares. What the operating system does under this process management is that it divides the time of the CPU and it gives them three different times. It divides the times into three, creating an allocation for your editing, creating allocation for your typing, creating allocation for your browsing. That is why you can run multiple programs in your system because of the what? The function of the operating system under process management. These are what all software, notwithstanding the names or who produce it, who provide it, anything, but it's supposed to do this thing. And the most important one is what we call the resources management. This is actually the kind of the most important thing a software should do. A software must be able to what? To organize and to allocate resources and also deallocate. When we talk about allocation of resources or resources management, what we mean is that I'm not talking about, when we talk about resources, we don't actually mean your mineral resources or the bloody resources your state, your town have. When we talk about resources of a computer, we mean something like your memory. I'm talking about resources, we mean something like your peripherals or your keyboard, your mouse, etc. All these things, or your network card, your video card, so on and so forth, your graphic card. So when we're talking about managing of these resources, what it does is that it creates an allocation. It enables you users to know when someone or when a process is actually making use of a time and when the time is free. Let's say, for example, we are trying to do something, but what we are trying to do cannot help the standard of our system. You know, when you have a kind of low RAM, low processor, and you're trying to, let's say, play a game that is higher than that standard, you find out that your game will actually be ending because of the resources available. So it's not supporting what we want to do at that particular time. Now, I want to talk about resources management. What the operating system does to know something that is free. Let's say, for example, we are doing something like multi-user. Let's say we're talking about multi-user. It's a kind of type of software that helps different users, to log in simultaneously. Under the resources management, if we are running multi-user under the resources management, when multiple users run in, let's say multiple users, user A log in, user B log in, user C log in. What this resources management, what the OS does under resources management is it helps to allocate resources. For example, if A is actually using a keyboard and B wants to use the keyboard at the same time, the operating system enable B, it will send an error message to B that if the keyboard E wants to use is not free because another user is using the keyboard. When we're talking about resources management, another thing resources management, the operating system do to be able to kind of communicate with this is that the operating system creates a kind of, let's say, database or a table, enable it to know when something is free and when something is not free. Let's say this is keyboard, this is mouse, and this is your RAM, and this is user A, user B, user C. Let's say if user A is actually using a keyboard at the same time, it marks it. User B is using a RAM, and this one is using a mouse, and user C is using a RAM. If user B wants to use a keyboard too at the same time, user operating system already knows that user A is using it, so it sends an error message to B. So B will rather wait. But since B wants to use the keyboard, and let's say after some minutes C also wants to use the keyboard, what happened here is that since A is using it, the operating system will put the request of B in queue. So they are all in queue, and it will put the request of C because it's C that has last. It put it in a queue. So after the keyboard or the A finished using the keyboard, it give it to B. After B finish, it give it to C. This is what they call the first in first serve. So when we're also talking about the OS, we'll talk about what we call the type of the OS. When we're talking about types of OS, actually we have what we call the single and the multi-user. We also have what we call the single and the multitasking. When we're talking about the single and multi-user, in single user, this is a kind of is an operating system that allow only one user at that particular time to be able to log in. Single user operating system is actually an operating system that don't need a database. You don't need a user database account because it's only one person. When I mean a user database account, I mean when, let's say for example, two people want to log in, and it's kind of your password, your name, and everything is actually a database. It's stored in a database. They are all data. And let's say the second person to log in a particular system. It creates a database. For, let's say for example, you and your brother are actually using one system, and your brother has its own user account, and the second person has, you also have your own user account. The computer, the OS, creates different database for you guys. So if another person is trying to enter, it creates another database. When we're talking about database, we mean it has your information like your name and your password. So in single user, it does not need it because it's only one person. So of what the heck does a single user operating system need a user account database? But when we're talking about the multi-user, a multi-user OS is actually those operating systems that allow multiple users, two or more users, to log in simultaneously or at the same time. Now, when we're talking about the single and the multi-tasking, when we talk about the single tasking is when we can run a particular program, just one program at a time. Then let's say you want to type, you want to browse, you want to, let's say, video editing, you want to do your video editing, you want to do these three things. These three things are three different programs. You know, your MS Word, your let's say your Mozilla, and you want to run video editing with your Adobe Premiere, something like that. There are three different programs, and these three different programs in a single tasking, you cannot run three of them at the same time. You must run it one by one, single, like one. But when we talk about multitasking, in multitasking, you can run the three programs at the same time. You can open up your typing, you can browse, and you can do your video editing all at the same time. That is what we're talking about multitasking. But when we're talking about the operating system, you also hear the type of operating system called, let's say, embedded operating system. It's actually embedded operating system can fall under the single user or a multiple user, or it fall under the single taxing or the multiple taxing. When your application is not working fine, it sends an error message to us, we users, letting us to know that a particular program we want to run is not actually fine. It's not going to be executable. What I mean executable, it means it's not going to open up for us. Operating system also help doing a lot of things, like it has this kind of thing we call the interrupt. When we talk about interrupt, don't worry, in our next video I'll be telling you about a lot of things operating system have that can do. Let's just say interrupt is a kind of way operating system call the attention of your CPU. So in our next class, I'll be telling you more about operating system. Hope you like this video. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you feel there is nothing I did not say about this, or there is a mistake I actually made in this video, you can drop it, you can correct me in the comment box below. But if you find this helpful, please share and subscribe.